He's just been picking them off really in this race, but now he's got somebody very hot in his mirrors, and that's not going to be easy. Oh, he goes wide. Yeah, really deep into that corner. Still side by side. Craig's got the inside with his right hander, and I think he's going to hold on to position, but Darrell's continuing to put pressure on. He's putting it around the outside of him. Oh, Craig. He's going to have to get his elbows out here if he wants to hold on. Darrell backs out of it, coming in going to have straight line speed. Is he looking to the inside? Once again, Craig slams the door on him, but he's gone wide. He's gone deep into the corner once again, and Darrell did not need a second mistake. To the outside here, he's going to try and use that side draft, I'm sure, to get around Emo Guy. But Emo Guy, I don't know if he's dropped a bit of downforce on that Lamborghini. It seems to be slightly quicker in a straight line to what it was in the first race. So he's presumably made a few tweaks to the setup there, as Maze Game is trying to go around the outside, but Emo Guy's holding his own as Maze goes very deep into turn one, and he's going to go wide. I think Emo Guy should have to hold that position on the inside. Is he? Yes, he's always going to squeeze him, and Maze is still there, and he's actually pulled off a great move there, has Maze Gamer. He really set Emo Guy up for that throughout the few
Audio check, audio check.
seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I. Only you can put my fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground, so we can fly again, so we can fly again. Been trying hard not to go out of my mind. And all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I. Only you can put my fire out. You can turn it all around. And you can lift me off the ground.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for round 6 of the GT3 Championship on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platform here at Silverstone. We're in for an absolute treat tonight. 15 cars out on the grid. We've got Jonathan Reed lining up on pole position, the championship leader. He's going to look to try and extend his advantage in the point standings this time out if he can. He's going to have SMT Maroon giving him a good fight though at the front. SMT Maroon qualifying on second spot. You've got Scuderia Paul with a great qualifying session there in third place. Quadeo alongside in the second row in fourth place. Then we've got Lightblade in fifth, doing a decent job in quali. The man who's joined the Porsche Cup last week and took the win in the feature race, also did a good job in the GT4s on Wednesday night. We've got Nils Barca in 6th, good friend of Lord Ash Wilson, filling in tonight as a late stand-in. We've got deedeeTKU and Spuzz in 7th and 8th places, Zaloba and Sebas Sensation. Then we've got Rompu, Nilsson, Lord Ash Wilson, Morphy and Stones at the back as we're approaching the line now. We're moments away from the start of round 6 of the season here for the ACC GT3s, and it's green. We are racing here at Silverstone. As we see there, SMT Maroon has jumped Jonathan Reed, but Jonathan's got him on the Exodus Cops here as SMT got a little bit of a shaky run. They're side by side up towards Maggots and Beckett's now in the background there. You've got Scuderia Paul just trying to hold on ahead of Quadeo, but Quadeo's got him up into third place. Quadeo into third. Oh, as we see SMT Maroon going straight on there over Maggots and Beckett's. Where's Jonathan Reed? The cameraman's just taking a moment to pan out here as they come in on the exit of Chapel and out onto the hangar straight for the first time. Jonathan having to take evasive action there as we see somebody's off in the background. Oh no, carnage on the first lap. Everybody's going off the track. What is going on here? As Jonathan Reed is down to third place, the pole sitter has dropped a couple of positions here. Maroon and Quadeo up into second place. There's carnage here on the first lap though. So it's Maroon who leads ahead of Quadeo, Jonathan Reed in third place. Then you got Nils Barca in fourth. Morphy, deedeeTKU, there's Spuzz, Nilsson, Stones Racing. Lightblade was the car who we saw veering off to the left hand side on the exit of Chapel Curve. He's now down in 12th place in this race. Rompu 13th there, Lord Ash Wilson just behind them with Scuderia Paul at the back of the field. SD12- joined the session just at the start, so he'll be able to join the race in a moment. But what an unbelievable start to this race. Zaloba and Sebas Sensation both in the pits, both undergoing damage repairs already in this one. Maroon leads as we've got 13 cars out on the track, 2 drivers in the pits and 1 who didn't start. But carnage already here at Silverstone. Maroon leads ahead of Quadeo and Jonathan Reed with Nils Barca up into 4th place here on the first lap of this race. Down the Wellington Straight for the first time up towards Brooklands. And Maroon has that advantage ahead of Quadeo and Jonathan Reed. Nils Barca there in 4th. There's Morphy in 5th place all by himself. Has managed to pick off the carnage in front of him. deedeeTKU, Spuzz. There's Lightblade in 8th place. Made a couple of positions since that skirmish on the first lap. Nilsson in 9th. There's Stones in 10th, just ahead of Rompu. In fact, Stones has lost out to Rompu there. Rompu's got himself into 10th place. Lord Ash Wilson in 12th place in this race. Scuderia Paul running down in P13 after such a promising start to this race. He was up in P3 in the qualifying session. It's all gone horribly wrong since then though. P13 in this race. Zaloba and Sebas both in the pits, both undergoing damage repairs. Still no sign of moving anywhere in this race so far. Maroon leads ahead of Quadeo at the moment though. Quadeo looking to try and close the points gap to Jonathan Reed tonight if he can. He's obviously got a mountain to climb in the championship, but he's got to start somewhere. Maroon leads ahead of Quadeo. Jonathan Reed right on the back of Quadeo though, coming down the hangar straight for the second time in this race. These 3 trying to break away a little bit. They're a little way ahead of Nils Barca running in 4th place. Morphy there in 5th. You got deedeeTKU. Spuzz has got Lightblade. In fact, Lightblade's got ahead of Spuzz, I think, up into 7th place, I believe. So yeah, Lightblade, I believe, has definitely made that move in Spuzz. In fact, that's not Spuzz behind him, that's Nilsson. So Lightblade's ahead of Nilsson, but also Spuzz has dropped down to P10. So Spuzz has had a bit of a sketchy first sector there. I don't know if he might have lost it coming through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, but he's now down in P10 in this race. Maroon still leads ahead of Quadeo at the front, 7/10 between those 2. Jonathan Reed though crawling all over the back of Quadeo at the moment. In the battle for 2nd and 3rd places. Nils Barca there in 4th place. So you got Morphy, deedeeTKU, Lightblade just ahead of Nilsson at the moment, trying to pull out the gap to him a little bit. Lightblade obviously had that big moment coming out to the hangar straight on the first lap, but since then has recovered well. These 2 have got Rompu behind them. Spuzz there in 10th. Stones Racing, Lord Ash Wilson and Scuderia Paul in the pits getting that damage repaired. Looks like we're down to 12 drivers out on the track at the moment. SD12- has left the pits, so we have got 13 runners out on the track at this point in the race, but not the race that Paul Zaloba or Sebas Sensation would have wanted or needed in any way, shape or form in these early stages. Maroon leads by 1.3 seconds. It's starting to pull out that gap a little bit over Quadeo and Jonathan Reed right now, as Jonathan Reed is just looking for a way around Quadeo. He still can't find a way around him. Quadeo, obviously the reigning champion of the GT3 division here at Motive on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Quadeo has been here and done it before. Jonathan Reed trying to take that crown. Current championship leader is Jonathan Reed, looking to try and get ahead of the reigning champion in the early laps of this race. But Quadeo's going to defend to the inside line, coming up towards Maggots, and there's no way around for Jonathan at this point in the race. Nils Barsas running in the background there in 4th place, Morphy 5th. There's Didi in the background there as we see Morphy as just putting a lap here on, I believe that is a Ferrari. It's, oh my goodness me, that's Sebas Sensation there as he's just come out of the pits, but Morphy there staying out of harm's way as Sebas loses the car. Sebas is completely round there, coming on the exit of Beckett's. Let's hope that he doesn't get in the way of any of these drivers, these leaders, as we also see lots of carnage going on coming through that part of the track. Quadeo on the back of Jonathan Reed, but Jonathan's made that move up into 2nd place, so Jonathan Reed has now found his way ahead of the reigning champion of the GT3s and is up into P2, can now try and chase down the race leader SMT Maroon, the championship leader, getting ahead of the reigning champion. Nils Barsa there running in the background in 4th place. Morphy has dropped well off since that bit of a scare really, as he was putting a lap on Sebas Sensation. Lightblade there is up into 6th place, gaining positions with everybody else seeming to spin off. He's a couple of seconds clear of Nilsson at the moment and looking to try and gain on Morphy if he possibly can. Nilsson, Rompu, Spuzz competing the top 9 drivers in this race. Didi a little bit of way back in P10 is just being passed there by Lord Ash Wilson. So Lord Ash Wilson is up into some clean air there, and Didi dropping back a little bit there, so Didi's lost out. He's down to 11th place, could find himself open to losing more places in this race if he's not careful. So he definitely needs to stop that rot and get himself into a groove here. But 16 drivers on the track, we've got everybody out there at the moment. Obviously there are a couple of drivers who did have a bit of a skirmish on the first lap and find himself a lap or 2 down, but it's great to see that everybody's keeping with it, keeping going, not giving up, not throwing in the towel. There's good points on offer no matter where you finish here at Motive Racing in these GT3s and ACC, and there's every reason to keep going all the way to the checkered flag. There's no reason to stop. Come in, get those points on the board, and leave this round richer in terms of points for the season. But right now Spuzz is on the back of Rompu here, looking to the inside into Cop's corner. Rompu closes that door, no way around for Spuzz at the moment. He's going to get a run coming up towards Maggots, has a little look to the inside, just a cheeky little feint there, but Rompu holding on to that 8th place for the time being. SMT Maroon leads by 2 seconds to Jonathan Reed, who's managed to put out a bit of a gap to Quadeo, and Quadeo's been passed by Nils Barsa there. So Nils Barsa's up into the final podium spot. Didn't see what happened to Quadeo, but he's lost out by quite a bit over this last lap or so. Maybe made a mistake coming through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. He's down to 4th place here in this race, so that's not gone well at all for the reigning champ. Bit of a gap back to this man Lightblade, who's starting to really reel these guys in. He's got ahead of Morphy now, so Lightblade has cleared Morphy. Morphy's now got heavy pressure from Nilsson coming up towards the Vale chicane. Can Nilsson try and get a good exit out of Vale in towards Club Corner and maybe get the run down to the international pit straight up towards Abbey? Here we go out of the corner now. It looks as though Nilsson's maybe a little bit too far back just at the moment to get the move done on Morphy, but Morphy's facing heavy pressure from him in the background. You can also see Rompu and Spuzz going at it for 8th and 9th places. Didi in the pits at the moment, so he's presumably getting some damage repairs done because there's no mandatory pit window until minute 25 of the race. Anybody coming in before then will have to come in again. It will not count as a mandatory pit stop. You've got to come in within that pit window, otherwise you will face a hefty penalty from the stewards. Foul to that, as we can see there's Nilsson making the move on Morphy on the exit of Chapel. Down the Hanger Straight they come. Now we're going to see, sorry, not the Hanger Straight, Wellington Straight. My goodness, I'm so sorry, I just completely messed up my Silverstone geography there. Rompu there running just ahead of Spuzz at the moment. Morphy though continuing to do a decent job in this race. You know, he's still there, he's still been really making gains when everybody else has been falling by the wayside. So congratulations, well, not congratulations, that's the wrong word. Hats off to Morphy in this situation, because he's just been plugging away and keeping going, and he's in some great points at the moment, as we've got Nilsson there up into 6th, currently 4 seconds off of the back of Lightblade. Lightblade running in P5 seems to have found his spot here in this running order. He's kind of just matching Quadeo at this point, not really closing in on him too much. Quadeo though is starting to close back up onto Nils Barter a little bit. The gap now 3 seconds between these two, so Quadeo has definitely made a few gains since losing that position. Obviously made a mistake a couple of laps ago, lost out to Nils Barter, having already been passed by Jonathan Reed. Jonathan Reed, since getting ahead of Quadeo up into second place, has been matching the pace of SMT Maroon, but SMT Maroon looking like he's very good money for this win here tonight at Silverstone for sure. This man's been threatening to take a win here at Motives in his two appearances on the channel so far, and has done very, very well by all accounts in these a couple of appearances. He's been improving bit by bit, race by race, and he really does seem to have the pace to win this race here at Silverstone. He was very much on the pace of Jonathan Reed in the qualifying session. We saw Mimo VIP take pole position in the qualifying, but a little bit of miscommunication. He thought that he wasn't supposed to be in this race, so he ended up leaving the race before the start of the actual race. So it was Jonathan who ended up taking the pole position, but obviously he didn't earn the pole spot in the qualifying session. But Maroon was very close. It was those three looking pretty tight in that qualifying session, but Maroon's currently got that ascendancy. He's got that was a hiccup, 2 seconds back to Jonathan Reed at this point, but Jonathan did gain 3 tenths coming through that. That was another hiccup, but Jonathan did gain 3 tenths coming through that middle sector there. We've lost a driver from this race. That's a real shame there. We have had a retirement here in these early stages of the race. Just going to try and figure out who that is that's retired. It was Seba Sensations out of the race. What a shame there for him. Well, we got some comments coming on the YouTube stream here. Apologies for neglecting you guys a lot in the YouTube stream. JR saying let's go team run DJC, check. We got he's also saying let's go Lightblade, Rompu and Didi. Good evening all, says Raki. All the best of luck for Scuderia Paul. Great qualifying, proud of you, man. Oh mate, that has not aged well. Scuderia Paul had a horrible first lap, Raki, as you saw, and even as you can see there, Raki's subsequent reaction there. No, he says this can't be true. Oh, JR saying why do that? Ruined everyone's race because they ran out of the track. Yeah, I know it was a little bit of a sketchy move. Hopefully the stewards will see to that one. Raki says the stewards will be busy the next couple of days. Imagine wiping everyone out then taking the lead. Yeah, but we got also Raki saying did the number one join the track unsafely? What happened? Yeah, he did a little bit. Wasn't the best, but JR said no, John Jig saying even Andy, what's gone on? Well, we had a bit of carnage on the first lap, mate. It was Scuderia Paul, Didi. No, not Didi, but Scuderia Paul and Zaloba, also Sebas Sensational had to pit for damage on the first lap. SD12- joined the race after it started, so he started from the pits. He joined about a lap in, I think it was. So far, Maroon's led. Jonathan Reed had a bit of a disastrous start to the race and dropped back to third behind Quadeo. Then he proceeded to get the move done on Quadeo up into second place. Quadeo then made a mistake, dropped it, went down to fourth place, which promoted Nils Barter on his Motive Racing debut up into a podium spot. But right now Quadeo 3 seconds off at the back of Nils Barter, kind of keeping the gap to him at this point, so could be coming back at him at some point throughout this race. Raki saying mayhem is happening. The camera angle was not the best, but the 27 just wiped out most of the grid, says JR. Guitar Rich saying just tuned in, monkeys on the TV. Unbelievable for a 1 hour race. Also it was a 1 lap race even. Let's see if Didi and Scuderia Paul get a good result, says Raki. JR saying badly damaged as is half the grid. Even after that we're beginning. Guitar Rich asks if we can get Nana back on the comms. Well, if she walks in, Rich, then by all means yes, but I think she's downstairs watching the TV, so I don't think she's. I could be wrong. She may very well make an appearance tonight, but as far as I know, she's not in the vicinity at this point. Usually, she's upstairs. She's kind of like lurking around the games room, and will often come in and pay an appearance. But I don't think she's upstairs at the moment, so I don't know. Maybe over the next 46 minutes we could be seeing Nana making an appearance on the Motive Racing channel tonight, but I highly doubt it today, unfortunately, Rich. As disappointing as that is, Sunday isn't really a day when she just, I don't know, Wednesdays she often seems to be upstairs during the races. She often comes in on a Wednesday, but Sunday, no. I think you're out of luck. I think you're out of luck, unfortunately. As sad as that is, I think you're out of luck tonight, mate. But right now we got Morphy running in 7th place. He's just half a second clear of Rompu at this point, and they're coming down the international pit straight. In fact, Rompu has got ahead of no, he hasn't. That's a lie. That's a massive lie there, because Morphy's actually quite clearly still ahead of him. But Spuz running in behind these guys in 9th place right now, and they've just put a lap on Didi. So Didi's running behind these guys. Didi running in 13th place in this race, just behind these leaders. Well, not leaders, but you know what I mean. Morphy, Rompu and Spuz all are a lap ahead of deedeeTKU at the moment. Maroon has got only 0.7 of a second back to Jonathan Reed at this point. SMT Maroon has come in for a bit of flack in the YouTube comment section. Some of the guys commenting in the YouTube stream not too happy with this man leading the race. He's been deemed responsible for some of the first lap pile-ups in this race. Oh, sorry Rich, sorry mate. But yeah, I'm gutted to have to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately unfortunately that oh no, it's a smiley face, that was a typo there. But yeah, right now we got Jonathan Reed really pressuring the back of Maroon. Look at this, 0.4 of a second between these two as they're coming up towards Vale Chicane. Jonathan Reed absolutely all over SMT Maroon right now, as these guys look like they're going to be going at it. They've got 10 seconds back to Nils Barca at the moment. Nils Barca's got still just about a 3-second gap back to Quadeo, so that gap's kind of staying the same, but this is where it's at here between these two, Maroon and Jonathan Reed. They're going to go at it for the race win tonight. I can see this one going on for a while here. Could we be in for a similar treat to what we saw last week in the Porsche Supercup, or this week actually technically, as it's still the same official week here at Motive. Obviously week 6 we had the week obviously starts on a Monday and ends on a Sunday, so right now we're still technically in the same week that we were on Monday. But 6 days ago we saw Lightblade and Will Friedman have an absolute titanic battle in the feature race for the Porsche Supercup, which went all the way down to the final lap, final corner, and Lightblade managed to hold him off in a great little scrap. Are we going to be seeing a similar battle here between these two, Maroon and Jonathan Reed? Time will tell us the answer to that one. Spuz has got ahead of Morphy, I think. So Spuz has actually cleared Morphy and Rompu up into 7th. Spuz has done bits there up into 7th place. Morphy there running in the background there in 8th place, just ahead of Rompu, and these two running just ahead of deedeeTKU at the moment. So Didi continuing to stick to the back of these guys right now as Rompu tries to go on the inside of Morphy there. Morphy closes the door coming out of the loop, and a big flash of the lights there from Rompu. He's not too happy about that one. He feels that Morphy definitely closed the door on him there, as now Didi's trying to come back at Rompu and unlap himself, but can't do it into Brooklands. But Rompu not too happy with Morphy's antics there, feels that he was cut off a little bit in that little exchange. Maroon still leads this race ahead of Jonathan Reed, 0.3 of a second between these two, coming down to the end of the hangar straight into Stowe corner, as Jonathan just tags the grass a little bit there as he hit the brakes, goes a little bit wider coming through Stowe, and that's going to have affected his run quite a bit. He lost about a second there in that little moment that he had just there. Quadeo's closing the gap to Nils Barca, gained about half a second on the previous lap. The gap's gone from 3.7 down to 3.2, so he is really putting in the work at the moment, as they've got just under 10 seconds here to this man Lightblade, who's got a bit of a gap back to Nilsson running in 6th place. Lightblade made that move on Nilsson in the early laps. Lightblade's been just bringing himself back into this. He's keeping the gap around the same to Nils and Quadeo, so he's matching those two. Hasn't got the pace of the front two, Maroon and Jonathan. No one has tonight, those two in a league of their own, as Morphy's still on the back of Rompu here, 6/10 separating those guys in 8th and 9th places. Quadeo though trying to close the gap to Nils and get himself back on the podium here. The reigning champion of the GT3 division will be looking to minimise the points lost, but Jonathan Reed at this early stage in the season, I say early stage, tonight marks the halfway point in the season, and this man here running in 2nd place in this race is looking almost a dead cert for this championship already. He's absolutely running away with it in the standings so far, as Jonathan Reed, and we expected big things from him this season. We saw last season Silverstone in the wet, we saw glimpses of absolute brilliance in terms of pace, and he's just stepped it up to the next level so far this season as Jonathan Reed. He's been absolutely stellar, hasn't really made many mistakes at all so far this season, has just been keeping it consistent. He's been quick across the board, massively quick in qualifying, even better at racing. And we see Maroon kicking up a bit of grass there as he's really feeling the pressure from the championship leader at this point, but Jonathan Reed has done a really good job so far, and obviously tonight marking a halfway point, round 6 of 12. Going to be a 1 week break coming up after this week, so there will not be any racing on ACC next week. We might be having some racing on Project Cars 2. We're not 100%. We're going to announce that either tonight or tomorrow morning on the state of affairs with Project Cars 2. But ACC, we're going to take a break here at Motive for the next week, so we won't be having any races. The drivers can have an extra week to practice for their next rounds of racing in their respective categories, so that will definitely shake things up, and who knows what we'll see when we come back from that break. But Jonathan Reed will want to, I'm sure, go into that mid-season break with an even more commanding lead in the championship. He's on course to extend that gap at the moment to Quideo, but obviously he will be wanting to get ahead of Maroon and maximise his points here tonight, and get himself a win, get himself on the top step here. I believe his home race, I think he's English or British at least. I believe Jonathan Reed is British. I could be very wrong on that, and if I am wrong, Jonathan, I'm really, really sorry. But I think he's British, and so he'll obviously be wanting to take the win at his home race if he is indeed British. But he's currently all over back of Maroon, our Hungarian driver, SMT Maroon. The SMT team all repping Hungary. You've got Zaloba, you've also got Morphy as well, and obviously we lost yeah, no, we haven't lost anyone, no, that's a lie. But in terms of SMT, we obviously lost Seba Sensation in the early stages, but SMT, Zaloba, Morphy and SMT Maroon, all members of the same team, all good friends, and right now Jonathan trying to take the lead here, but SMT Maroon doing an absolutely brilliant job here tonight on the Motive Racing channel. A third of the way into the race tonight, a few minutes left to go until the start of the pit window, and it's looking like it's race on here between these guys. 0.3 of a second separating them coming out onto the hanger straight for the 11th time here in this race. You've got Morphy within 0.6 on the back of Rompu right now. Didi's dropped off him a little bit. Didi is obviously a lap down on these two, but Rompu started to just pull the gap out to Morphy a little bit now. That looks like it's a bit more than 0.6 between them. I'd say that's just over a second, I'd hazard a guess, coming over the line to complete their 10th lap of the race. 1.2 is the gap between those two, so Rompu's got a bit of a cushion back to the man in the number 87 Porsche at this point. Maroon still leads by 0.4 of a second out the front ahead of Jonathan Reed. These two still going at it, these two absolutely inseparable out the front here for round 6 of the GT3s here at Motive on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 4 platform here at Silverstone, and it's been absolutely non-stop action since the start. We've seen thrills and spills. We've seen a couple of drivers have to come in for early pit stops due to damage on the first lap. We've seen a retirement in the shape of Seba Sensation. We've seen a driver join the race after it started in the case of ST12-. We've seen the pole sitter not even start the race because he didn't realise, he thought that he had made a mistake and he had joined the wrong race. Turned out that he had joined the right race and that he's on the driver's list, but unfortunately Mimo VIP, having taken that pole position in the qualifying session, wasn't able to start the race, wasn't able to make the most of his elevated, well not elevated, but you know, pretty high up, good position of P1. Obviously that's, you know, pretty high up I'd say, but yeah, he wasn't able to capitalise on that and try and take the win in his first race here at Motor, which is such a shame there obviously for him. But SMT Maroon is now leading this race, having had the lead gifted to him due to Jonathan Reed having a bit of a sketchy opening lap to the race. Got away without damage though, was down to P3 after the first lap, managed to get ahead of Quideo. Quideo then made a mistake, dropped behind Nils Barca down to 4th place, and since Jonathan got ahead of Quideo, he's done nothing but chase Maroon down. But since getting onto the back of Maroon, it seems like Maroon has had the pace to Jonathan and not allow Jonathan to make the move with ease. Maroon definitely with the skills to pay the bills around Silverstone tonight. Jonathan just can't seem to find a way around him. Maroon driving a very managed and well calculated race here as he's defending his position in the right places. He's keeping to the racing line when it's obviously the wise decision to do. But he has just been absolutely brilliant so far in this race as SMT Maroon. Hasn't put a foot wrong, but Jonathan is hunting him and hounding and hassling him, looking to try and find a way through if he can. But 2:10 separating these two here as we are on lap 12 of round 6 for the GT3s, and looks as though Jonathan's still looking to find a way through. Still hasn't found an opening. Yeah, Jonathan gets a big slide there on the grass. He looked like he was rattling over that curb, and that could have been inches away from tears there for Jonathan Reed. He just about keeps it under control and is still on the back of SMT Maroon at the moment, but that looked like it was a very, very close call for Jonathan Reed, and he's going to want to make sure he does less of that over the course of this race. That could have very easily been the win out of the door there for him. If he had gone round, he could have lost up to 10 seconds, and in a race like this where you've got such fine margins, when these two are so evenly matched, that could have made all the difference. So pit window will be opening on this lap. These guys just starting their 13th laps of the race. So we'll be seeing the pit window opening at the end of the lap they're currently on. Blue flags being waved, not sure why, to be honest. There's no one really around. But I did see someone in the distance, but certainly not in blue flag range. But at the moment, SMT Maroon still leading this race by half a second ahead of Jonathan Reed, as Jonathan once again really rattling over those curbs, pushing these track limits to the absolute maximum here at Silverstone tonight. But these two are just coming up on some traffic here, so trying to figure out who it is, to be fair. Yeah, I don't know, I must say. Oh, it's Stones, yeah, they're about to put a lap on Stones there. So Stones, you just see in the foreground coming through Abbey. 2 leaders SMT and Jonathan will be coming up on the scene very shortly, and we'll be hoping that Stones doesn't hold them up too much. In the meantime though, just noticing the timing board there, Cordeo's got the gap down to Nils Barca, down to 2 seconds, so Cordeo still really making good gains here in this race. Obviously made the mistake a few laps ago, dropped in down to 4th place, but since then has really picked himself back up and has been pushing it on the limit here in this race. Pit window's now open, so drivers can come in and make their mandatory pit stop. Lord Ash Wilson has elected to come in and get that pit stop done. He's the only driver so far who's come in and got it done and out of the way. Stones looks like he's coming in towards the final couple of corners now, having just been lapped by Maroon and Jonathan. Jonathan's going for the undercut here. He's into the pits now from 2nd place. He was hunting down Maroon, he was trying to find a way through, couldn't seem to find a space, and he's come in and got that pit stop done. He's going to try and get these laps down out of the pits and try and get that jump on Maroon when Maroon comes in to serve his pit stop over the next 10 minutes or so. So Jonathan Reed, the championship leader, going for the win here tonight, trying to take his 4th win of the season if he can. Be hard pushed here with a driver like Maroon. Really seems to be on the pace of him tonight, but Jonathan's going to roll the dice and see what he can do here in this race. Cordeo and Lightblade both also into the pits here at the end of lap 13. Maroon still going the race leader. Nils Barca staying out for the time being. Nilsson looks like he's coming into the pits as well, and so is Zaloba. So Zaloba's coming into the background there as well. Looks like those drivers are the only ones in, so Jonathan, Cordeo, Lightblake, Nilsson, Lord Ash Wilson and Zaloba all off and away, as we just see there. I think number 18's got a drive through. Lord Ash Wilson has been done for spinning in the pits, so he's going to have to come in and serve a stop-go penalty, which is a real shame there for him, as Lord Ash Wilson came out just behind the Bentley of Jonathan actually, which is bit of a strange one, because Jonathan Reed was leading the race by miles. No, not miles, but what I'm trying to say is he was miles ahead of Lord Ash Wilson's a lap down. That's why. Whoosh. Sorry. I'm turning into a terrible commentator. I think I'm getting old. I think I'm already getting old. 24 years old. Eyesight's going. Hearing's starting to go all peaked on. I think it's all starting to fall apart. But Nilsson currently coming on the exit of the pits right now. Looks as though Zaloba's come out of the pits now. He's got it done and out of the way, as we can see. That is now Maroon, the race leader, in the pits at the end of lap 14 even. So the big question now on everybody's lips is, has this man here, Jonathan Reed, done enough to jump Maroon throughout the course of the pit window? He's just coming in towards the loop now. Maroon is just stopping in his box. His pit box is right at the end of the pit lane, so he will move. He'll start moving probably just as Jonathan is coming out of Luffield into Woodcote. So it's going to be very, very tight between these two, as Jonathan's coming up towards Brooklands now. So he's got about 30 seconds until the end of the lap. How long is Maroon going to be in that pit box for? Is he going to be changing tyres? How much fuel is he going to be putting in? These questions will be answered in the next few seconds. Jonathan Reed out of the exit of Luffield now. Maroon needs to be moving now if he wants to hold on to the position. Here we go. Nils Barca takes the lead. Has still got a pit though. Spaz will move into second place. Maroon though still has not moved. He's off the jacks now. Jonathan's coming over the line to complete his 14th lap of the race. Where is Maroon? He's just coming out of the pits now. Jonathan Reed's coming out of the exit of Copse Corner, flat out here. Absolute pedal to the metal, and Jonathan Reed has done it here on Maroon. He's up into the lead of the race. He's done absolute bits on that outlap there. Jonathan Reed swoops round into the lead here at Silverstone for round 6 of the GT3s. He absolutely got the hammer down when it was needed, and Maroon will be absolutely cursing that as he sees that Bentley in the distance. The blue and white Bentley of Jonathan Reed is now into third place, what is now the net lead of the race once Nils Barca and Spaz come in. Maroon's going to be kicking himself there, but Jonathan Reed absolutely killed it on those couple of outlaps, and he now has the net lead of this race. Morphy and Rompu still yet to pit. These two battling out over 5th place. They're half a second between them coming up towards Stowe Corner. Nils Barca and Spaz both got a pit. Once they do, Jonathan and Maroon will be 1 and 2 once again in this race. Half distance here at Silverstone for the GT3s, and it's been a lot of action so far in this one. Raki says, great move, Jonathan. Absolutely, Raki. He really did roll the dice brilliantly to come into the pits nice and early, getting it done and out of the way at the first possible opportunity, and he has absolutely played a blinder in the strategy here at Silverstone tonight. Number 18 has cleared that stop go penalty, so that's Nordash Wilson has come in and got his penalty done. So that leaves Nils Barca, Spaz, Morphy, Rompu, Scuderia Pool, ST12 and Stones all still yet to pit here in this race over the course of the next 4 minutes or so. Usually by this point you've seen nearly all the drivers come in and made their pit stop, but there's still a few yet to come in, so a bit of a surprise compared to the usual. Not really what we're used to seeing here, but at the moment Lord Ash Wilson, having made that pit stop's come out, not a pit stop but the stop go penalty, has come out in 13th place. Spaz is in the pits now, so he's coming and getting that done. Nils Barca for the time being staying out on the track, but we'll see just how long he plays it here in this one. He's got to come in probably this lap or maybe the next. He could probably long it out to the next lap, but he's on borrowed time here. He needs to make sure he brings it in soon. Morphy and Rompu both in the pits. Rompu got ahead of Morphy there on the pit entry, so I wonder if he was a little bit more ballsy onto the brakes into the pits, but Rompu's coming into the box, also Morphy. Spaz obviously already in the pits. Nils Barca still yet to come in. We got Scuderia Pool, SD12 Dash and Stones Racing all still yet to come in and make their mandatory pit stops in this race. They've got 3 minutes to do it. They need to do it pretty sharpish if they want to avoid disqualification from the race. As we see Scuderia Paul there just putting a lap on Stones. Relatively routine stuff there. Paul not suffering any major losses in terms of time as he gets that done up into some clean air. Rompu and Morphy in their boxes now, and Nils Barca, the race leader, still going round because he's coming out of Luffield to complete his 16th lap of race, and he dives into the pits now, so the race leader's in. That will promote Jonathan and Maroon up into 1 and 2 again as they were before the pit window. Morphy in the box right now, he's just moving now, so he's just off and away as we speak. He's been jumped by Nilsson, and I think he's going to come out just ahead of Paul, so Morphy should come out in 9th place, so he's going to, P9 for Morphy at the moment. Nils Barca in the box, he's just stopping in his pit garage now, so I wonder where he'll come out. Maybe he'll come out 3rd or 4th. Actually, it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Quideo, because those two were battling before the pit window, and obviously Nils Barca has played it long here in this pit window, so could that have played off for him, or is Quideo going to get the undercut here on Nils Barca and get himself onto that podium? As we see Quideo coming in towards Duffield. Nils Barca still has not moved yet, so I think Quideo is going to pull off the undercut here as Nils Barster's pit garage in the middle of the pit lane, so he's not even near the end of the pit lane at this point. Quadeo coming out of Woodcote onto the start finish straight, and Quadeo is up into third place here in this race. Nils Barster losing out quite a bit there through the pit window as Quadeo comes out of Copse Corner now in third place in this race. Nils Barster just coming out of the pits now. Big question now is, has Quadeo put new tyres on? If he has put fresh tyres on, then that could definitely pay dividends towards the end of the race. But at this point, Quadeo with track position looking to be in the box seat for a third place here in this race. Jonathan Reed has got a gap of just under 3 seconds over SMT Maroon at the moment. That gap just kind of staying at around the same. These two very evenly matched, but Jonathan seems to have a slight edge around Silverstone tonight. I think they both put tyres on as far as I know. I don't think they did a different strategy. If they did, then maybe Maroon might come back at Jonathan towards the end, but at this point Jonathan looks like he's got more than enough in reserve. ST12 is coming in to make his pit stop, the last driver to come in and get that mandatory pit stop done. So now all 15 drivers still running have come in and got that pit stop done, so that is now everybody having ticked that box, and we are good to go until the end of the race here. 25 minutes to go here at Silverstone for round 6 of the GT3 Championship here on ACC on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 at Motive Racing. Jonathan Reed looking like he's going to have this one in the bag, but anything can happen in the final few laps of this race as Maroon's going to keep pushing him all the way to the flag. You can be sure of that. guys, a couple of laps left to go here at Silverstone for the GT3s on ACC at Motive Racing on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Currently watching the race leader Jonathan Reed, the championship leader, looking to take another win here this season. It'll be his 4th win of the season so far from 6 races if he can bring it home tonight. He's currently almost 7 seconds clear of S17 Maroon this final stint of the race. It's not been too much going on. We kind of just pulled the headphones out a little bit and let it run. Looks like the gaps have been pretty consistent between all drivers really. No one really battling at the moment. So Jonathan's just been steadily increasing that gap over this last sort of 15 minutes or so to SMT Maroon. He now looks like he's going to be able to bring this home for a reasonably comfortable win in the final few laps of the race. SMT Maroon was up there at the beginning and ended up leading the race for a few laps due to Jonathan making a slightly shaky start. But Jonathan managed to really come back and reel him in and end up getting the undercut on him during the pit stops. And he's now got the gap at over 7 seconds. So Jonathan Reed looking like he's going to be able to take this one. SMT Maroon running in second place. He's just coming out of club out onto the international pit straight. You can see him just about in the shot there as Jonathan rounds Abbey. But SMT Maroon will be a bit disappointed with losing the win, but it's been a great performance from this man tonight in the number 27 Bentley. He's come in for a bit of flack in the YouTube comments section. Some guys reckon that he was at fault for the first lap incidents that we saw. So yes, it's definitely come in for a bit of criticism, but a P2 will be a great result for him, and some good points there in the standings. JR was saying earlier on that it would be a good idea to have a league marshal sort of thing. I think that's what he's alluding to in the comments, so, or in the actual game chat, and then they can communicate with myself and have live penalties during the race and stuff like that. And I do like the idea of that. And I remember back on Project Cars 2, back when we had Rubbings racing, I remember you would do the same. I remember quite often you would be over the mic saying, right, you're coming in for a drive-through, you're coming in for a drive-through. And I like the idea of it. It's a good idea. It's a good concept. I just think that it might get a bit messy, especially if say for example you make a decision in the heat of the moment, a sort of like a snap decision to give someone a drive through, and it turns out to be the wrong decision. It's very hard to undo that at the end of the race, because obviously by that point their race is already wrecked and potentially it could have harmful consequences. I just think it's a little bit of a dodgy territory. I like the idea, as I say, if you can have enough people, if you can have enough hands on deck to be able to make it work, you know, like a proper judge and jury, so to speak, then it would definitely be an idea that we could implement going forward. Yeah, we'd need an extra pair of eyes for sure. Guitar Rich saying any action looks like not. no, not really, mate. To be fair, you're right. John Jig says 7 has got a decent gap now, over 27. Yeah, Jonathan is just pulling out that gap, managing things in the last stint of this race. Be nice to see some replays later. Definitely would. Well, you can always rewind the stream. Oh, as we see Deedee's lost it there. Deedee a lap down, just there in front of the race leader Jonathan. As Jonathan puts a lap on him there, Deedee's got well out of shape there. Looks like he's now rejoining the track just behind Maroon. But here is the man leading this race, Jonathan Reed, coming down the Wellington Straight for the final time. Jonathan's done absolutely brilliantly over the course of this race. Qualified in second in the qualifying session behind Mimo VIP, but he, unfortunately the pole sitter did fail to ready up at the start, so Jonathan inherited the pole position. Since then he lost a couple of positions at the first lap, dropped down to third place, got ahead of Cordeo and hunted down Maroon over the course of this race. He got the undercut in the pit stops. He's done brilliantly since the pits and has pulled up the gap to over 6 seconds. Jonathan Reed takes the checkered flag and wins here at Silverstone for round 6 of the GT3s for season 5 here at Motive on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 here on ACC. Well done, Jonathan Reed. SMT Maroon comes over to take a second place. A great drive from him. Really well deserved points in the bag there for SMT Maroon. Cordeo is coming through the final couple of corners now, and the reigning champ's going to finish this one in third place, a long way behind in the end. He really did lose time to the front two, but he did pull away by quite a bit ahead of Niels Barca, so fair play to Cordeo as he comes over the line to take that final podium spot. JR in the comments saying good drive number 27, aka Miss SMT Maroon. Again, we'll have to have a look at the first lap incidents again, because it could have been a bit of lag. JR did concede that it might be down to a little bit of internet issues there, possibly, that could have reared their ugly head. But Nils Barca nonetheless takes 4th place. It's going to be SD12 crossing the line behind him. So currently Morphy Rompu finished a lap down, Didi, Lord Ash Wilson and SD12 finished 2 laps down. Lightblade comes over to take a P5 in this race. Good result there for him. Spuzz in 6th is coming out of Luffield for the final time, and it's going to be P6 in the number 108 BMW. Some great points there in the bag for Spuzz. I'm sure he's going to be chuffed with that. As we just see in the foreground there, Zaloba finishing the race in 14th place. So Spuzz 6th, Nilsson's coming down the Wellington Straight up towards Brooklands for the last time in this race. Scuderia Paul's coming into Luffield, he's running in P10, not the race for Scuderia Paul. After a promising qualifying session, was up high in the qualifying in 3rd place, but the race just has not gone to plan at all there for him. JR, a big fan of this man's livery, finishing in P3 tonight. Quideo, the champion of the GT3s. Nilsson's going to be the last to finish. He coming up towards the line now to finish in 7th place. Good result there for him. So that is that then, ladies and gentlemen, for the GT3 round 6 here at Motive on ACC. It's Jonathan Reed taking another win, his 4th win of the season from 6 races, and he's looking in cruise control in the championship fight. SMT Maroon takes 2nd ahead of Quideo. Nils Barca in 4th place with Lightblade 5th. Spuzz, Nilsson, Morphy, Rompu and Scuderia Paul completing the top 10. Didi in 11th with Lord Ash Wilson 12, SD12 Zaloba, Stones and Sebas Sensation and Mimo VIP both Sebas just about started the race. Mimo VIP failed to start the race. So that is that there, ladies and gentlemen, for the race. Be sure to drop a like, guys, and if you enjoy the stream, be sure to subscribe to the channel, as it really does help us out an enormous amount. We will see you in the next one, guys. Have a great evening, and see you later.
of a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way. Birds chirping and I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah. Just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were young. For the animals we stand. Let's go back to when trees were swung. Kids across the Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah.